Thank you, Sarah, and welcome everyone. My name is Karam Dana. I am an associate professor in the School of Interdisciplinary Arts and Sciences. My official title is the Alison McGregor Distinguished Professor of Transformative Research, and I'm also on the advisory board for the Office of Research at the University of Washington Bothell. As Sarah had mentioned, we are doing a great deal of amazing work in terms of research at the University of Washington Bothell. In particular, we have this fantastic grant that we encourage a whole lot of people to apply as much as we can because it provides great opportunities. The Research Scholarship and Creative Practice Grant that we're very grateful and very happy to share two wonderful scholars who will be two presentations. Actually, one is by Dr. Joey Key and Linda Simonsen, and the other presentation is by Dr. Joe Ferrer. Without further ado, I would like to introduce Dr. Joey Shapiro Key and Dr. Linda Simonsen. Please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thanks so much to the Office of Sponsored Research for organizing these Husky Highlight seminars. It's really fun to hear what people are up to and all the great work that is going on and to connect with our community. And then, of course, thanks very much to the Research Scholarship and Creative Practice Grant Program for funding this research. So actually, Linda Simonsen is at another meeting today. So I'm going to cover for our team for today to talk about a project, our STEM public outreach team. And in particular, this work was to study the impact of this program on the persistence of diverse STEM students. So I'm very happy to tell you all about it. And yeah, if you want to ask questions, I'm happy to have you put them in the chat. I think I can see that. Put up a hand or just unmute and ask questions. The STEM public outreach team here at UW Bothell trains UW Bothell students as SPOT Student Ambassadors. So they get some training on public speaking, science communication, as well as some content training, depending on the presentations that they're trained on. And then we provide presentations and classroom activities free for K through 14 schools and community groups. So K through 14 means the K through 12 schools up through high school, but also actually this project focused on visiting community colleges. So that's the 13-14 of K through 14 schools and community groups. And the program actually is modeled after a long-standing program at Montana State University called the Space Public Outreach Team, also SPOT, but focusing on space science. So it was originally funded by NASA for some of the Mars rovers. And so that program has been going on for about 25 years. And I managed that program as a graduate student. And so I was happy to bring it here to UW Bothell. There are also various versions of SPOT programs in West Virginia, Alabama, and also one distributed SPOT program through the NanoGrav collaboration, which is a National Science Foundation project, the North American Nanohertz Observatory for Gravitational Waves, that actually trains SPOT ambassadors across North America at NanoGrav institutions. But we have our SPOT program here at UW Bothell. And our project through SRCP, the Scholarship Research and Creative Practice program, was to evaluate the impact of participation in STEM outreach, so here in the SPOT program, on the persistence of diverse students in physics, math, and engineering. So SPOT programs actually have quite a broad impact and reach, right? Because we go into schools, we interface with teachers, but one of the biggest impacts really is on the student ambassadors. And so we wanted to study that in particular. And so we collaborate with the Center for Evaluation and Research for STEM Equity, CERSE, at UW. And so Cara Margario is our evaluator, and she's the one that we collaborate with to design and study the experiences of the SPOT student ambassadors. And the idea is that they can build confidence, content knowledge, and community through participating in a STEM outreach program. This project also has a Connected Learning Excellence Award here at UW Bothell. So this is for high impact experiential learning opportunities for students, and also supported SPOT student ambassadors. So both awards supported financially the SPOT student ambassadors. So they get paid $500 a quarter to work for their training and presentations, averaging about 2 hours a week to participate in the program. And here they are, our SPOT student ambassadors. They come from a variety of majors, and actually we have a few who are external students. So most of these are UW Bothell students, but we also have a summer research program where external students participate in summer research with our faculty. And those students also have the opportunity to train as SPOT student ambassadors. So the cohort is actually made up of UW Bothell students, as well as a few other students, including one high schooler down at the bottom there, Christine Yee. She goes to Eastlake High School, and she's a very exceptional high school student. She's very active in my research group in gravitational wave astronomy, and she's also a SPOT student ambassador and visits actually mostly other high schools and talks about gravitational wave astronomy with high school students. If you know of students who might be interested in participating as SPOT student ambassadors, please recommend them to me. I can put my email in the chat at the end here. I'm always looking for new student ambassadors. In fact, one of these students graduated, and so definitely need some more. Okay, and I'm going to show you a little bit about the presentations and activities that they lead when they go to classrooms or clubs. So the one that was developed through SRCP, Dr. Linda Simonsen in the engineering and math division led the development of this new presentation on convex polygon tessellations. And it highlights research that was done here at UW Bothell by a couple of our excellent colleagues in math, where they discovered a new shape that can tile the plane. And so the presentation goes through the story and discovery of this new math discovery, and how a student and faculty were able to contribute to discoveries in mathematics. We also have a presentation about gravitational wave astronomy. So this one is through the NanoGrav collaboration. And so it's about black holes and gravitational waves, but also highlights research that is happening right here on campus with our students and faculty. And so this is one of the key elements of the SPOT presentations, is that they highlight research that's happening right here. There's also associated activities, classroom activities that go with each presentation, and they're essentially flexible enough that we can go into a kindergarten classroom and tell them about math and physics, up through these community college audiences. And as I said, for this particular project, we were focusing on visiting community colleges, and in that case, they were essentially pitched as research seminars, and the undergraduate students would present about the research and answer questions from the audience. So the other key part of this project was a formative evaluation and recommendations from CERSE, the Center for Evaluation and Research for STEM Equity, studying the experiences of the SPOT student ambassadors. So through their training, their presentations, and their community and cohort building as student ambassadors. This funded the evaluator. So she had a focus group and interviews with actually quite a few former SPOT ambassadors as well as current SPOT ambassadors, and then shared suggestions for improvement of the program, including some ideas about peer mentoring for new ambassadors, things that we can do to develop the support for the students. We also develop a new SPOT Ambassador annual survey, and the pilot was sent by the evaluator. We will see the results from that shortly. And those also help to develop the program. The focus on research seminars for regional colleges so far has meant that we have brought these presentations about math and physics discoveries here at UW Bothell to Bellevue College, Cascadia College, Edmonds College, Heritage University, Highline College, as well as the University of Portland. That one was during 2020, so it was actually a virtual presentation. So the student didn't actually get to go visit Portland, but it actually is, preferred that we send the ambassadors usually in pairs to the institution to give the presentation, lead activities, ask questions, or answer questions from students. One more request, please help us connect with regional institutions to schedule research seminars for college STEM students. So if you have connections at regional institutions that would be interested in presentations from our SPOT student ambassadors, sometimes they're in classes, sometimes they're with clubs, sometimes they're in seminar series. So if you have connections with anyone who organizes any of that, I'm happy to schedule those for our SPOT student ambassadors. We usually aim them at STEM students, but they can also be for a general public audience. And then for faculty, and because this is hosted by our Office of Sponsored Research, I'll also offer partnership for funding proposals. So for grant proposals, for foundation proposals, right now we have the two presentations about two research groups here at UW Bothell, but there's lots of other exciting work that happens here. And so one thing you can do if you lead a research group, if you work in a research group, if you write grants and proposals, is that you can write the SPOT program into your grant proposals to develop a presentation, similar to our program, but on your research topics that we can share. It can be all as broad as K through 14, or you can focus on middle school or high school or community colleges. And this can be part of the broader impacts and community connections for your research proposals. And we have lots of data about presentations we've given, audience members, as well as the impact on the student ambassadors that get trained in that content area. So part of our SPOT program is to offer this for research groups here at UW Bothell. So that's a quick summary of our STEM public outreach team and some of the work that we do. And I'm happy to answer questions.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Dr. Key. Such a wonderful kind of overview of this really fantastic research. My initial comments have to do with the significance of its impact, honestly. The first has to do with, being a public institution, the University of Washington, the tri-campus that we are. You're really making a fantastic impact, and I'm very, very impressed by what you've been able to do, honestly, you and your research partners. But then in addition to this particular program really builds that partnership between, leading faculty members like yourself and your co-PI and others. But then in building those relationships between faculty members and students, effectively making them able to move forward and to themselves become leaders in the field in the future. So you're really hitting, for the lack of a better terminology, is you're hitting multiple goals with one stone effectively. So thank you for that. I would like to open for an opportunity for those who would like to have any questions. I see Cindy Shirley having a question here, please.
I do. So Joey, you mentioned that other faculty could include that in their broader impacts, etc. Do they need to contact you? Do you have verbiage that we could put up on a website, or include your contact information on the website or something? Because I know that would be really helpful for people, especially when we look next year at maybe even some of the career proposals that are going to be going out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's been done in a few different ways at the various institutions that have these active SPOT programs. I think certainly anyone can contact me and I can help out. But I think I can have, or I think a good way to do it would be I can have some sort of stock text that the Office of Sponsored Research can have. So you can have it and people can, adapt it from there. Again, if they want to be in conversation with me about it, that's great, and I can help out. But I think we can have some text available. If you want to put on a website, that's fine. I think that's how West Virginia does it. Yep, is they just have it up on a website.
Yes, I think starting with some text would be really helpful, and then we could add some contact information for you, and then they could reach out. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you, Cindy. Marie Blakely.
Yeah, thank you, Karam, and thank you so much, Joey, for that presentation. When I was pulling together the stories that we've written about this in the past, which makes me feel like maybe we should write another one soon, as the impacts expand, you started to pull up the slide where you were hoping people could help you connect with regional institutions. And I was just in a conversation with the folks in enrollment management about outreach and connections that they're building with community college students. So I'm wondering if by connections, there might even be a possibility to talk to the folks in enrollment management, because they might have different contacts at community colleges. It's sort of obvious to think of connections you could get through educational studies, but I just wanted to put in front of you the idea that maybe enrollment management might, in their outreach, promote any talks you have coming up in the future. So if you're interested, I can happily follow up with you offline and see if I can broker that connection.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, I think that's one of the things, it's sort of one of the side impacts of the program, right? Is that our students are going out to regional institutions and talking about exciting research that's happening here. And while I'm studying the impact that it has on those student ambassadors, it really does recruit, right? It's not a billed as a recruiting event, but it does recruit students to see, well, actually, because they're near peer mentors, right? It's other college students. It's not even just me going to talk about my research, right? It's other college students talking about research that they are involved in. Then the community college students can really see what they can do here on our campus. So it really does impact recruiting. So yeah, I'm happy to talk to enrollment.
Great, because I know you didn't do it to help us recruit, but it is part of the pipeline, right? Is making students aware that they can continue their education in this space. So I'll follow up with you. Thanks.
Thank you, Marie. Thank you, Marie. Cinnamon.
Yeah, thank you, Joey. This has been so interesting. I haven't heard a lot about this program other than, so it's great to hear it straight from the source. It reminds me of some work we're doing with peer tutors, peer coaches, peer facilitators. And what is interesting about that work is last year, some of them presented to the Board of Regents, and when they were talking about their work, they were talking about things like working in groups, learning how to communicate, how to, what you might call soft skills, right? And the Board of Regents was really impressed with that. They said they would hire them in a minute because they had these skills that don't often come with, stereotypically with STEM graduates. And I'm wondering if you've heard the same thing from your peer, I don't know, I can't remember what you call them, spot fellows or peers or students or whatever. Are they also mentioning that they're sort of developing these like lifelong skills that they don't necessarily get from taking STEM classes?
Yes, exactly. Right. So that's what we were interested in looking at. How does this impact their persistence in STEM? Right. Yes, they're continuing to take STEM classes and take math classes and do problem sets or whatever. Right. But serving as a SPOT ambassador, they get this additional training in public speaking, this interesting content knowledge, that's not directly related to their classes. And they're building this community and working with others. That's right. So those are actually the main things that they identify and carry on to. Yes, I mean, some of them go on to grad school, some of them go on to industry, Some of them go on to teaching. That's sort of that's like a very natural step, right? But even as they go on to grad school, they have experience and skills that help them succeed in grad school, because they have to give talks and talk about science.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'd be super interested if you have surveys or other tools giving it to this other group, and just a comparison would be very, I think, very interesting. So
Yeah, we should talk to
Yeah.
should talk to Cara. Yeah.
yeah, cool.
Wonderful. Thank you, Cinnamon. Any other questions? So one thing I'd like to mention here is that it really provides an opportunity, this program, for a variety of different school districts that typically may not have the opportunity for something like this. And not all school districts have the means and the resources to address questions of STEM questions, in particular when we're talking about underserved communities, traditionally underrepresented communities. So I really think that this is a fantastic, really fantastic program, and I'm very thankful, honestly, that something like this is happening, because it really creates a very positive impact there. Okay, well, Joey, Shapiro, Key, thank you very much, Dr. Key, for such a fantastic presentation, and for a really awesome opportunity to kind of grow our network at the University of Washington Bothell throughout the community. Thank you very, very much.